Suma, play Roxette.
Now playing Roxette. Listen to your heart.
Listen to your heart when he's calling for you. Listen to your heart. There's nothing else you can do. I don't know where you're going, and I don't know why. But listen to your heart.
We obviously take our tops off.
Obviously.
Welcome to the Night Pod Cometh, where it's all Paddys Pub all the time. I am your host, Jamie G. Esquire the Fifth. And to celebrate the end of the season, season 16, I'm going to have D throw a gutter ball.
Gutter ball.
You goddamn son of a bitch!
I'm here with Magnum Mills and the one and only Soupdeucer to wrap up season 16 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Guys, it's the end of the season. I am drinking a really nice 2016 red blend. Screen Actors Guild edition comes out every March. SAG red blend. It's absolutely fantastic. Started with a few beers tonight while I was cooking dinner. Soon as things came off the grill, wine was poured. I'm riding it out from there. Magnum Mills, pretend, just for a moment, if you will, we're at Risky Rats Pizza. And you know what, buddy? You can do whatever you want.
I mean, it's funny that you should mention that. I mean, like the other day, I felt I tripped. Someone tripped me the other night, and I landed on my head. And there were stars, but I mean, I was all right. I mean, that's what the bone is for.
That's what the bone was for. That's what the bone was for, right? And he come up, he crack you on the back of the head.
Smack you in the back of the head.
That's what the bone is for.
I am Magnum Mills. This is the Night Pod Cometh. You can find us wherever you get your pods and on YouTube or on social media at Night Pod Cometh. And it's easy to forget things when you hear it in your head. The bone is good, but it doesn't cover everything. So we're here to help remind you. Please don't forget the flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. Helps other people find our show, find our channel, helps bring Sunny fans together. That's what you want. That's what we want. We all like that. And if you like this, if you have fun, don't forget that thumb. Soupdeucer, man, what frequency you vibing at tonight, baby?
I am drinking PBRs, nice and comfortable, man, nice and comfortable. I'm a little confused because, she told me that the bone was for something else, but I'll eventually get to the bottom of that because one way or another, I'll always bottom out, dude.
It's your turn, okay? If you must mush later.
A quickie.
Quickie it is.
What?
My character is also a giant whore, which is what attracted me to the role in the first place.
Slow sipping the PBR is kind of warm out, so maybe I'm not drinking them as slowly as I should be, but certainly not pounding wine like Donna Brasato tonight, like this guy over here.
Stay hydrated, my friend, though. You got to stay hydrated. It's very important.
Gonna work in the high quality H2O 100%. And guys, everyone out there, you guys got to know, no matter what we're drinking, no matter what we're doing, the Night Pod Cometh, it's a full spoiler show. So yes, we're spoiling everything. SPOILER. It's all in play for our discussion. You jabronis, you've been warned.
Imagine like the gang picks the new name for Twitter or something. That would be something fun for season 17. We'll get to that at the end. Maybe we'll do a little bit of looking forward. But on this episode, we're basically just going to kind of give our overall thoughts on season 16, talk about our favorite shit while it's still fresh in our brains. Going back a couple seasons, season 13 is highly regarded as kind of the zombie season where Glenn Howerton was only there for part of it. Season 14 was kind of transitional. They didn't know if they were going to keep doing it, what they were doing. People still had outside projects. And then season 15 wound up getting kind of fucked over by COVID a little bit. So it was like half COVID, half Ireland, a little bit of a weird season. So let me ask you, do you think season 16 is kind of a return to form for the show? Does this feel more like the earlier seasons maybe than the last couple did?
For me, 100%. I mean, I think this might be my favorite season since 11. I think it was really good. Going back through, like, watching it, like, yeah, I like that they gave us kind of a bite every week. I know they released a couple at the front end and then kind of a bite every week. I wanted more. I thought this was really good. Going back and rewatching it and kind of binging it a little bit now that you can. It holds up, dude. Like I put this up there. I think this is the best one since 11. And Mills, you know me. I'm a big season 11 guy. I love season 11. This is the next best since then. Now, it's not as big as it sounds because as you described, some of those seasons were a little bit kind of off the rails. We're not the only ones off the rails. I think the gang got off the rails there a little bit with 13 and COVID and shit. But I thought this was a fine season.
What do you think, Soup? Does feel more like the kind of like season 12 and before than the past few had?
Yeah, I think so, man. This, I mean, it was an overall a really, really good season, man. I do wish there might have been like, I wish they had like 10 instead of 8, episodes or whatever.
10 feels like the magic number. That's what they were doing pre-COVID here. I think I think we'd all be very happy with that number. Just the extra 2. It's not that much, but it feels like a lot.
But overall, even for 8 episodes, man, it was. I mean, they were 8 good fucking episodes, man. So, and I feel like they kind of got better as it went along, with the exception of maybe like 1 or 2 or something. But it kind of went in that order, where each one was a little bit better than the last one.
Yeah, I think y'all are really spot on here. I'm just gonna basically say yes. I really think that all the people making the show, especially the guys, are now in a good place. They kind of balanced out the show with the other stuff they want to do. A lot of them have other shows, other projects going on. They all have kids, that kind of thing. And I think they did a nice job of bringing stuff back, but also bringing in some new blood, mixed it up so it felt like, like classic Sunny kind of, but like, made for these times. Same thing even with the social commentary stuff. It was a little bit more subtle than, say, like, remember in season 14, they did like the gang solves the bathroom problem. Like, you don't need to come at it like that. The show is always better when they find an interesting take on it. And I thought they did a good job this season of finding interesting takes on at least something in basically every episode.
Yes. The only thing that could have made this better was give me Pondy, baby. I need Pondy, Mills. I need a Pondy in my life. But I got a question for you. When is the last season that was better than this? I already said I thought maybe season 11, but what is it for you, Mills? What is it for you, Soup? Is it season 12, season 11, 10? Where are you guys at? 13, 14? Like, where
well,
are you guys
for me, I think it's pretty easily better than the past 3 seasons. I'm kind of back and forth on 11 and 12. I will say this is as consistent as those seasons, but the highs of season 16 aren't as highs of 11 or 12, where you get some classics like McIntyre move to the suburbs, the gang goes to the water park. There's a few real bangers in those seasons. There's a couple bangers here, don't get me wrong,
but
not quite up to that level.
Dude, come on, they hit the slopes in season 11, dude.
No, yeah, there's so many good, and I'm higher on a lot of the smaller episodes in that season too. What do you think, Soup? This is the best season since X. What's X?
I'd have to go ahead and give it 11 also, but I do really like some of those earlier seasons, man. Like, maybe not so much the first one, but the 2 through like 6, like I like
yeah, I don't think this is quite up to that standard. I think that's kind of the peak of the show. People will define it in some way. Some people say like, oh, the first time you got like Fat Mac or like Frank's brother, or people kind of pick arbitrary cutoff lines. It's like The Simpsons. I mean, any show that runs that long, there's always people that'll do that kind of thing, because that's how it works. They're all eras, right? The people are getting older, they've grown up with their characters kind of. So I think there's going to be different eras of a show that's run for 2 decades basically.
Yeah, of course. They always kind of push the boundaries and push the envelope a little bit, man. I feel like they did that a lot, as expected, in this season. So good stuff, man.
Yeah, totally agree, guys. In my humble opinion, it was a very impressive season of television. I mean, it just, again, I cannot say it enough. This is a show this was its 16th season. Just for retrospect, Seinfeld went 9 seasons. Now, to be fair, Seinfeld had a lot more episodes per season, but still, they're in their 16th season of a live action comedy. That's incredible. I mean, it's basically unprecedented. I cannot say enough about that. Like, to do this for 16 seasons, it's fucking awesome. Were you guys impressed by the show putting out such high quality, content here for the season, almost 2 full decades after it premiered? I mean, I thought it looked better. They had huge guests on there. It worked really well. I mean, just thoughts on this after 16 seasons. I mean, that's wild.
The easiest comps are always going to be kind of like The Simpsons, South Park, Family Guy, just because they're comedies that have run for that long. Like you said, it's almost unheard of for a live action comedy to run this long. I feel like some soap operas have run this long. Gunsmoke, Grey's Anatomy, I think has run for like 20 years or something absolutely insane. Law and Order, but even there's a lot of cast turnover and stuff like this. This is basically the same cast for the whole time. I think this is wildly impressive, and it reminds me a little bit of South Park, where they kept trying to do different things. And I think maybe it was after Book of Mormon, they just had to sit down and make a decision like, all right, are we going to be the South Park guys for the rest of our careers? And they were like, okay, yeah. So they signed a huge deal, and they only do like 8 episodes a season now, but it feels like the Sunny guys kind of did that. They had to make a decision like, are we just basically going to keep doing this until we can't do it anymore? And they said yes. And this feels like the one where they really committed to that. You know, maybe that's why we only get 8 or whatever, but it really feels like everyone was engaged. You know, they worked really hard at it. And I think a lot of it was, as much as COVID hurt, I think that led them to doing the podcast. And I think going back and watching those old episodes really kind of, you know, reminded them of what they loved about the show and what ways they could kind of bring it back and reflect on how it plays differently, given that, you know, again, it's almost 2 decades ago. So I am extremely impressed by this, and I don't know if it's something we're going to see again for a very long time. I mean, what the fuck is going to last for 16 seasons anymore?
I know. I mean, you're right, dude. I mean, considering, you know, Succession went 4. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Soup, anything to add there? Are you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you on all that, man.
Well, guys, we spent a fair amount of time in Paddys this season, but we also checked out a bunch of other locations. What was your favorite non-Paddys location this season? Anything come to mind?
Oh, the bowling alley, I think for me is pretty easily, I think, the tops. You know, Risky's is fun, but it feels like there was some kind of missed potential there. Whereas the bowling alley, I think, was just great. Almost like, it's almost good enough you could put the arcade within the bowling alley also as its own thing, because even that was just fun, even though we had it really for the one scene, but it was a huge scene, which is kind of obvious, I think, why they use it in the, you know, the season 16 trailer and everything.
Yeah, I thought I absolutely agree with that. And then Risky Rats is kind of behind it. The private jet was fun, but I really enjoyed the restaurant where Dee and Mac have their dates in Frank versus Russia, and like Dennis is acting as the general
when they're
manager
using
of
the synth system.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. That was a highlight for me.
Yeah, also the club where the celebrity booze joint, just the whole thing, getting in with the nickel slugger, and then them wearing the outfits like the Michael Jordan outfit, and then meeting Cranston, and then Gritty in the bathroom and everything. I thought all the shit at the club was great. Charlie's outside, you know, picks him up in the limo, all that, or the, you know, chauffeured car or whatever. I thought that was pretty great.
And the Suma CEO house was a lot of fun. That was just cool, just kind of a neat little additive to that event, to that episode where Dennis is kind of peeking in his own world. And shout out to Uncle Jack. I know they went so creepy with Uncle Jack this season, but I enjoyed his ice cream truck. Again, Frank vs. Russia was a great episode. Soup, anything to add here?
Yeah, for Soup, I'm curious, is it going to be the Pet Cemetery or is it going to be Charlie's Sisters? I mean, how well do we know Soup? Let's find out.
Right behind the bowling alley, we got to put Charlie's sister's house, obviously, because who wouldn't want to go there?
It's a nice house.
Pet Cemetery, yeah. Pet Cemetery is a good one too, just because, you know, I mean.
Well, you get to Chase Utley runs away with the thing, and then Cricket shows up. That was actually kind of, and they don't get on bar rescue. There's a lot going on with that one. I think that's a cool spot, and it's Pet Cemetery. They bury, you know, their problems, their curses, and their wives there.
Yeah,
and various gulls and whatnot. Various dead animals they find in the bar.
Yeah. Seagulls, man.
Yeah, good stuff. You know, sometimes people complain when they leave Paddys, but I think they did a good job of it this year. It was almost always interesting wherever we were at.
I like when they step out of the bar for a bit. You know, I mean, obviously that's the main setting and everything, and it's supposed to be like that. It's cool. And I mean, if there's episodes that are just fucking within those fucking couple 4 walls or whatever the fuck, they're still good. There's a lot of really great ones like that. But I do like when they step out into the wild a little bit, you know.
Guys, while we're at it, we had a decent number of car scenes and road trips this season. Which was your favorite?
Oh man, if you go back to Celebrity Booze, I mean, Charlie driving Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston is pretty fucking epic. It's kind of hard to beat that. In, you know, just minor joint, when Mac and Cricket are staking out Chase Utley's joint, and they have the whole thing in the van where Mac brings a 6-pack, but he drank 4 of them, 2 are filled with piss, and then Cricket thinks he's gonna whip out his dick and everything. That's pretty epic as well.
I've got to agree with that one for sure, man. And I think the only one that might beat that is Dennis's fucking ride in the Suma, man.
Yeah, Dennis driving the Suma was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one as well.
Yeah, just shout out to when they go to Risky's at the beginning of that one, because they're just jamming on the theme song, and that shit stuck in my head for the entire weekend.
It's insane, go crazy, have fun, go nuts. As the ski lets me talk, do whatever you want.
Just like we had a bunch of different locations, we had a bunch of different guest stars. Mills, tell us how we're going to acknowledge our favorite guest appearances of the season.
All right, man. We each ranked 17 guest stars, a couple of whom appeared in multiple episodes. I averaged the results together to determine who our favorites are. And without further ado, here is our top 10. We actually rounded out with a three-way tie at 8 between Mrs. Mac, Uncle Jack, and the one who doesn't fit the rhyme scheme, Gritty. But shout out Gritty, making the top 10. Love you, Gritty. You're definitely come up. Philly hated him when he came out. Gritty's growing on people. At 7, we have Ryan McPoyle. And then we have a two-way tie at number 5 between Bertha Fussy, that was the character played by Rhea Perlman, Dee's neighbor, and the Kid. Shout out the Kid. At 4, we have Liam McPoyle, who absolutely slayed it in the Gang Goes Bowling. Shout out Jimmy Simpson. And a lot of bowling here, because at 3, we have Gail the Snail. At 2, we have Artemis. And at number 1, I don't think it's a surprise. Jamie G had him number 1. I had him 2. Soup had him 1. We got Cricket. Obviously, it's important to use a character like Cricket well, right? You can't overuse him, and when he shows up, it's got to be worthwhile. I think they really did a great job with him this season on that. We all had him high. Soup, you were a little low on Gail the Snail. I know you loved her bowling quote. Why'd you have her at 10? Jamie G had her at 2. I had her at 3.
Yeah, I know. I might have miscalculated a little bit there, trying to just throw it all together. But in retrospect, I might have ranked her a little bit higher. But what are you?
It's hard because all the ladies in the bowling episode kill it. Artemis kills it. Snail kills it. Waitress kills it. So it's really hard to kind of. And then you got the McPoyles. Right in that episode, you have so many good guest stars. We ranked 17, and honestly, I don't think there was a bad one in the bunch. I enjoyed every single guest star, and I think the show really did a good job of balancing them out. And I will say that I was a little bit higher on Mrs. Mac than anybody else. That mostly came from the Gang Gets Cursed episode in the whole bit. Well, Mac's trying to talk to her about his family, and she's just like grunting and doing various things and whatever. And then she just spends a whole episode shitting, and then she eventually like uses his sacred family letters to wipe with. So shout out Mrs. Mac. She doesn't get a lot of lines, but she's got great presence.
And when you say that,
She definitely does.
Good to have the McCoyles back too. It's been legitimately almost a decade, season 9, I believe. Been a minute.
You've got to smash. Yeah, that was. I thought again, just missing a Pondy. Everything else was perfect. Guys, I wonder how many guest stars show up in our favorite quotes from season 16. That would be interesting. Are they correlating there? Mills, please explain, if you will, how we determine our favorite quotes of the season. Because, I don't know, man. Seriously, like, there was a ton of fucking options here, dude. Like, a lot of good quotes here. A lot.
This was very difficult. I used our favorite quotes that we picked on the episodes that we did in our coverage, and then a little bit of editorial discretion to add some, but narrow down the field a bit for all of the quotes that we had collated, because again, it's not quite Barry or something like that, but we had a good over 150 if we would have tried to rank those all. Wound up being about 45. I then took our averages to make our rankings to determine the top quotes of the season. And I just want to shout out, anybody who had their number 1 quote that didn't make it in our top bunch, most notably Jamie G's number 1 quote from Risky Rats Pizza, where it's Mac talking to the kid, and he's like,
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, you can. This is America. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
You just cursed.
So what? We're in an arcade and there's no adults around.
all right, Jamie G, why did you have that one at 1?
Dude, there was so many good ones. I just thought it was kind of like a microcosm of the entire season. Like, it just felt like it was kind of like just one way to put together like Mac at its core. And honestly, like the entire season, like in its own way. I don't know, man. It aired, it was July, like just the whole thing was going on. I felt like it was kind of a cool thing. It was saying something without saying something.
It was July. Hey, I give you credit for it. I'm the one who sunk that one. I had it down at 40. Soup had it at 13. You had it at 1. So I'm the one who down it. And honestly, it didn't even probably make my top 10 quotes from that episode. So nothing wrong with it. I just had a lot more that I liked better in that episode.
It was July, dude. I mean, it's 4th of fucking July here.
Dude, you learned the lesson though. You can do whatever you want. That's the key of Risky Rats. Going on to the top 10. At 10, we have a quote by Dennis from Dennis Takes a Mental Health Day.
There's an app.
Right. An app. Boy, I gotta tell you, I don't love that. I have a lot of apps on my phone already, and keys are sort of a system that have existed for millennia. I don't know why we're trying to fix that, but yeah, no, we got apps. We got apps for everything, right? Even for things we already had things for.
At number 9, we have the most premium alcohol ever invented from Celebrity Booze, the ultimate cash grab.
Now, what is the most premium alcohol ever invented?
Goldschlager.
Yeah, Goldschlager.
Yeah.
All right, hey!
Nice.
We're all on the same page here. This is good. I like this. Okay, yeah, Swiss cinnamon schnapps liqueur with drinkable flakes of gold floating in it. My God, what's more premium than that?
Pretty fucking premium, I think.
Yep.
At number 8, we have a quote I remember was Soup's favorite from Frank versus Russia. And that's when someone tries to tell Charlie that he can't have a beer during a sporting event.
There is no alcohol allowed on the premises.
What? What do you mean? Like I gotta drink wine or something?
No alcohol at all.
At a sporting event? That's crazy. Fine, dude. Here you go. Frank, I'm gonna have to find some way to sneak beer in here.
Excuse me?
What do you mean? I got to drink wine or something?
I mean, that's
That's amazing, dude.
Table wine. That doesn't count as alcohol, right? At 7, it's another one I remember specifically being Soup's favorite from The Gang Gets Cursed. It's when Cricket's talking to Mac, and he thinks Mac's about to, whip it out because he's kind of beating around the bush, and Cricket says,
Something wrong with your dick?
What?
Okay, I was waiting for this. If it's your dick, though, I gotta charge you for it. I'm gonna tell you right now.
No, it's not my dick.
Well, if you're gonna whip it out, we're on the clock, all right?
Soup, you had this as your number 1 overall quote. Any reason, and Jamie G had it too, so
It's just
you both,
fucking hilarious,
you both love the
man.
dick, I think.
No, I don't love the dick, but I do love the.
You love I mean, it's fine,
I do love the quote, and I think it's something that that I'll be able to use in life. Like if there's ever a time where somebody's fumbling with an issue, they're trying to spit it out, then I can be like, "Hey, what is it, man? Something wrong with your dick?" So.
Yeah, they're trying to tell you they're getting divorced, but then they'll think about it and be like, "Well, getting divorced is better than there being something wrong with my dick, so at least I got that going for me," which is nice.
See, bright side to everything, man.
And Jamie G, you obviously love that one. Anything to add? You had it at number 2.
I just, again, it's a great one. It's one I want to incorporate into my life. I just thought it was so funny, and I think the timing on it was just so perfect. You know what I mean?
I guess we could have tried to put that on a t-shirt, but that might have rubbed on some people the wrong way. We'll have to find out. At number 6, we have a quote from The Gang Goes Bowling, and it was my favorite of that episode.
Why is everyone asking me questions?
Well, it's because you're sneaking around trying to steal money that you haven't earned and looking like Carmen Sandiego. I mean, what are we supposed to think? What are you hiding, Dee?
What?
I just love the Carmen Sandiego reference with Dee in the trench coat. That just hit home for me. I don't know why it did so much, but it did. At number 5, from Frank versus Russia. I don't know how this happens, but it's what happens this day and age.
No, you are beyond help, okay? You let a stranger hack your butthole, Dennis.
Soup, this is number 2 for you. It was in top 20 for all of us. Any thoughts on this one?
I mean, for one, it's just hilarious, and for 2, it's kind of like nobody hacked my butthole, but I did get hacked on some social medias and whatnot, so I can kind of relate.
At number 4, we have what I remember being my favorite quote from The Gang Inflates. Basically, it boils down to your nut.
That's money Basically, it boils down to your nut, right? Like, how much, nut do you go through a month, right? Are you storing up your nut, or are you just blowing through it? Like, okay, how much nut do you guys blow through in a month?
I don't want to talk to you about...
Yeah, I figured you were, man. So you got to try to hang on to some of that nut, otherwise it's all gone.
I mean, do any of y'all ever have remorse when the nut is gone?
Oh yeah, of course. Who doesn't, man?
Yeah, there's nut remorse.
Nut remorse, dude. You don't want nut remorse, dude.
No, dude. You gotta have the proper number and balance. That's the key to the whole thing. At number 3, we go back to The Gang Goes Bowling to hear the snail talk about why she loves bowling.
Yeah, I love bowling. The whole scene is so hot. I sucked off a rando in the parking lot. Oh, my mouth hurts.
Gross.
Soup, this was your number 3 overall. I remember it being your favorite from the episode. I had it at 6 overall. Any thoughts on this one? Just a classic snail or what?
Classic snail, and it's just fucking hilarious. What makes it the most hilarious because of the way she finishes it with "oh, my mouth hurts," but still fucking hilarious if she's blowing randos in the fucking parking lot. But what would you expect out of her? But still, fucking hilarious quote, dude.
Her mouth hurts. Her
Mouth
cooter
hurts.
is on fire. I mean, it's just incredible.
And then she winds up the episode getting in a three-way. So I guess it all worked out at the end. At number 2, we have a quote from The Gang Gets Cursed. I had this one at number 2, Jamie G at 4 in the Soup 11.
I don't know. I call ladies cunts all the time. We all do.
Right. That's
No,
true.
She brings up a good point. Yeah, no, I called an old lady a cunt this morning.
Did you?
I sure did.
Yeah.
I sure
I
did.
might have done it too, actually.
Any thoughts on this one? This was the cold open, if I remember right. Kind of coming in hot right after it. Yeah.
It was. They
Yeah,
came
it
in
was
hot.
right after it. Yeah, it came in hot.
Doesn't everybody do that?
I didn't think I did, but
And just a nice usage of D here. Let's just be honest. The whole season it was like D's hot. Let's use her. And I think that if I had one criticism of the show, it was probably could have used more D. Now we got a bunch of her in the bowling alley, and we got there were spurts, but it's like I think if there was one criticism I have, it's like more D because I thought D was on fire when she got looks this season.
I agree with that. We'll have to see how she ranks in our 5-star people when we get there. But before we get there, we have to give our number 1 quote. And it's Soupdeucer's girls coming through.
Stop. We need them. We need them.
Need them for what?
ASMR, dickweed. Yeah, ASMR.
What is that? What even is that?
We stick our hands in the jar. People pay to watch us stick our hands in the jar. They pay for that shit. Yeah.
All you're doing is sticking your hands in teeth and people pay you enough to live like this?
We obviously take our tops off. Obviously.
Bunny and Candy, Soup. You love them, right? You seem to be a big fan of the Kelly sisters.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome, man. Big fan for sure.
If they had would you subscribe? I guess that's the key. I mean, are you subscribing?
I think it would depend, man. I'm not really sure how that works. Is there like how much does that shit cost, man?
All right, let's call it $10. You subscribing for $10 a month?
Maybe, man. I'd have to. I would give it a trial. I'd give it like a 1 month trial and see like how much top off action we're getting there, dude, and what other kind of shit we're getting. If it's worth $10, then maybe I'll continue the subscription. But if not, I can always just revisit the episode.
Yeah, Roger that. You got the 2 T's. You got teeth and titties, so that might have been a good T-shirt.
Yeah.
T squared. Guys, I think it's way past time that we get some official The Night Pod Cometh merch. Everyone wants the merch. We get emailed all the time. Hey, you guys got merch? Well, maybe now we do. Mills, give us some T-shirt options from season 16.
All right, I will go through these here, and then I just kind of want y'all to just give me your favorites or whatever. And at 1, we have the Gang in Flakes. This is we got some Paddys fancy nuts here. From Frank Shoots Every Member of the Gang, we got the Soups Girls and the little OnlyFans plug. At 3, from the Gang Gets Cursed, obviously we have the Cunt of the Year trophy. Then we have from Frank versus Russia. You gotta trust your gut to win for America, right? Trust your gut. And then from Celebrity Booze, it's obviously Nickelschlager. We all need some Nickelschlager in our life. It's, an uncommonly good beverage for the common man. And from Risky Rats, we just need Risky Rats gear, right? Just give me the Risky Rats gear. I want that. In the Gang Goes Bowling, you probably have options, but I do like the Frigid Bitches. I think that's a good one I would rock, or, cop for my significant other. And, for Mental Health Day, I think you just need to listen to your heart and drive a Suma. Any favorites here from y'all from those, or do you have any ideas of your own?
I definitely really like the Listen to Your Heart one, man, just because of the pay. That's a great T-shirt. I would totally rock that one, man.
Yeah, that one's way up there for me. The Frigid Bitches was awesome, but come on. Cunt of the Year, you might not be able to wear like in the supermarket, but just like around home to like parties with friends, that would be an epic one to wear.
I like really the Frank versus Russia one, but just then you have to wear a thing that has a giant anal plug on the front of it. That's the only problem.
What?
But if you're willing to wear Cunt of the Year,
I think it's a good one because I like the T-shirts where it doesn't actually it doesn't say anything about Always Sunny. It just is like a thing from it, So and if you know what it is, then you get it. If you don't, then you don't, so I like shirts like that. I also, it might have been maybe my least favorite episode of the season, but from the first episode, maybe not. It might have been my second, but it's ranked that. Either way, man, I like that shirt a lot with fancy nuts too. I think that was just well put together, man. I would rock that shirt also.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And the one that would be fun from bowling that I didn't get a chance to do is like, like the no sign, like no Ghostbusters, like the red John. If you had like, no chili, no cheese, no fries, and then like the McFoyles or something like, like no combining allowed or something like that. I think that would have been a fun one.
Yes.
Well, guys, that brings us to our 5-star people for season 16. We're going to rank the characters in season 16 to determine our top 5. We'll then rate those 5 from 1 to 5 stars, with 1 being the worst and 5-star person, our 5-star person being our season MVP. Mills, I think you're up first here, bro. Hit us with your top 5.
All right, starting at the bottom at 1, I have to go with D. Nothing against her. I thought Caitlin Olsen was great, but you got to get on the floor to play. And she got the least amount of play of any of the characters, unfortunately. We just didn't get that much of D. At 2, I have Mac. He had his moments, but I think he kind of, petered off as the season went along, and they kind of didn't know what to do with him. I think he kind of shined earlier, and those weren't my favorite episodes. So going Mac at 2. At 3, I have Frank. He was Frank. He was fine. He was solid. Always funny when he was there. But again, not as much Frank screen time as you think. In his one kind of main episode where he shot everybody, again, it didn't really pay off the way I liked. My favorite parts of that episode are, obviously Danny DeVito peeing on fire hydrants is pretty goddamn great. As is him using his gun, like dipping it in the ketchup instead of a fry. Some good stuff there, but not quite as good as Charlie, who I have it for. I always love Charlie. He tends to be my 5-star man more often than not. I think it was a very solid Charlie season, but it wasn't as good as my 5-star man, Dennis Reynolds. It really feels like Dennis was front and center in quite a few of these episodes. He really delivered and then capped it off at the end with Dennis Takes a Mental Health Day. And he was great in bowling. He was great in Frank versus Russia. So even in my favorite episodes of the season, Dennis was quite often my favorite character. So I didn't think this is where it was going to end up when I started doing these rankings, but my 5-star man for season 16, Dennis Reynolds, Jamie G.
Man, well, I'm up next here. Similar here, definitely similar. My 1-star was Mac. I enjoyed Mac, but he just didn't do enough for me. My 2-star was Frank. Again, I don't know that I've ever had Frank this low unless he's just like barely in an episode. He just didn't get there enough consistently for me. He had his moments, and Frank's Frank, and I love Frank, but just not as much as I wanted. So 2 stars for him. 3, I had D. I thought D was great. I think if D was featured more, she could have been higher. But I got her at 3, which I think is pretty high. 4, I've got Charlie. Charlie's great. He was just consistent throughout. Again, I could have had more Charlie. Honestly, I wouldn't have complained about that. 5-star, I got to go with my guy, Dennis. Dennis was awesome all season long. Really, really good. Yeah, can't say enough, man. He's a golden god, dude. He's a 5-star man. Soup?
Well, again, pretty fucking similar here, man. I have Mac at number 1. I just think he didn't, it was all the same reasons. Didn't really didn't really have enough, but either way, I have D at number 2. Again, for the same reasons. I think she could have done more, but what she did most of the time was pretty fucking solid, man. She did have some really good moments overall in the season. Frank's right there in the middle at 3 because he's Frank, and again, without repeating shit that you guys said, there he is. Number 4. See, this is where I got torn, man. But I went with 4 Charlie and 5 Dennis, and here's why. And I'm not a big Dennis guy. I never was going into the season. He was kind of like one of my least favorite characters. But after this one, man, he really was the season MVP, I feel like, So, and Charlie is just always fun, and he's Charlie. So he gets 4, and, Dennis is getting 5 for season 16, man.
Dennis is going to be happy. He is our undisputed 5-star man. Shout out, Dennis. You can walk out of there all confident like you walked out of the final episode of the season, just throwing the joint over your shoulder, not looking, self-assured. That's how we're going out of this season. Good for you, Dennis, and shout out Glenn Howerton.
Well, I guess he should listen to his heart. Guys, who the hell knows when we'll get season 17? I don't, you don't, we don't, but hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But before we get out of here, let's throw out some predictions and any hopes and dreams for season 17.
Let's put it right out there. Jamie G. Pondy, is that a hope or is it a prediction?
It's a hope and a dream. It's like I haven't seen Pondy so long. Like at this point, it's just I'm holding out hope.
Yeah, dude is the lead in like Young Sheldon now, which hurts. I'm pretty sure that's why we haven't gotten Pondy back. Because they used him a lot when he was available.
Pondy was the man. He was the man, dude. Like I miss Pondy a lot.
So, all right, will we at least get the lawyer? I need the lawyer, dude. It's been forever.
I think that's a good prediction. I think the lawyer's a good prediction for sure.
I feel like they have to. Let's say like they're going to at least bring somebody back that we haven't seen in a long ass time.
I think they teased the fake Donovan McNabb with the Jalen Hurts thing. I think maybe they could get away with that next season, possibly. But dude, for me, it's not a prediction; it's a hope. But I'm going with cheddar, dude. I'm going with Parmesan.
Pepper Jack.
Pepper Jack. Oh, Pepper Jack, bro.
Cheddar, Parmesan, Pepper Jack.
He does love Frank Rock. And you shout out Jeffrey Owens. My initial note was maybe they get him to like play Jalen Hurts, and I was like, oh, but James Harden would make more sense. If you've seen now, James Harden is like doing his like he's just gonna like get fat and like not give a fuck. There's just a picture he skipped Joel Embiid's wedding to just like eat like 8 burgers or whatever. You know, I don't know if he actually ate them all, but it definitely looks like James Harden is in his he's having like a gap year kind of, and I think it'd be really funny if Jeffrey Owens wanted to play in James Harden next. I'd like to see him return for that. I'm just as kind of a random thing. I said, what if Paddys had to like host, like they're trying to, remember when Paddys tried to make money? What if they hosted like a golf scramble or something like that? They had like an event or something. So they had to do, remember when they did like the bar crawl and shit like that? I'm saying maybe we get kind of like an event episode of Paddys.
That would be really fun. And if they did it at a golf course, that would be very fun. Honestly, dude, I'll throw out a prediction there. They do it at either a live golf thing or a Trump golf course, and it comes with all this crazy shit, and they figure out a way to make a joke of the political satire, which they're so good at without knowing what satire is.
That would be cool. Or, all right, let's call it a sports episode, because I was trying to go, well, we haven't gotten yet. We haven't gotten a soccer joint. And now that Rob McElhenney actually owns a soccer club, it seems like there could be some kind of way that could happen, maybe, even if it's them making fun of it ultimately.
Yep. And give us a little Ryan Reynolds, dude. I'd be there for that. Ryan, you know what? That's a prediction. Ryan Reynolds will make his way in season 17.
That was actually on my list too, as was Dennis and D smoke crack again.
Nice. I could get down with all of those, man. I did have Ryan Reynolds making the appearance, possibly as a celebrity guest or whatever, man. And the whole soccer team thing might be kind of cool. That might be a way into that. Maybe they maybe they go over there and check it out or something, or speaking of sports teams, maybe they sponsor a team, like some kind of fucking like Little League.
Oh, Patty sponsors the Little League team. That would be good. They did the thing where they coach the kids before.
The basketball, yeah, the youth basketball, that would be fun.
There's definitely some potential there. What I would like to see, I'd like to see more Charlie's Sisters, obviously,
like
and more cricket, man.
I was gonna say, when it comes to Charlie's Sisters, define the word more.
That's a very, very open-ended, very large more, as much as possible, really.
They're very open to interpretation more.
Yes.
And kind of my rapid fire, what I have left, maybe we get to see Uncle Donald again. I thought that might be interesting. Again, played by the same actor who played Mac's dad. The kid, I definitely want to see the kid again. Love the kid. He should come back. And then maybe, they try to do a thing now. They make it like a video game or like an app version of Charlie McDennis somehow. That could be fun.
Cool.
And then randomly, Artemis just gets famous on like a reality show. She's always trying her acting thing. Maybe Artemis gets big on a reality show. That could be fun. And then finally, randomly, because FX is technically owned by Disney now, how about the gang goes to Disney World?
Well, I could see that being pretty cool. Yeah.
Get up to some mischief in the Haunted Mansion and whatnot.
I think they would have to make that a 2-parter. That would have to be to be continued, I think, like a double episode.
he winds up like playing Minnie Mouse or something
You
or
can't
whatever.
just
I don't
spend
know.
one day at Disney, man. You know, you got to have.
No, I want them to like have to like get into the underground and all that crazy employee
Oh,
shit and everything.
yeah.
Maybe some gators.
Yeah, a lot of potential there, man.
Feeling it.
I absolutely love it, guys. And I think we can all agree that season 17, it cannot get here soon enough. And you know what? Since you guys got to do something in the meantime, Mills, tell everyone what's up next right here on the Night Pod Cometh. We got to give them something to look forward to.
All right, man. The goal is to get back to the throwback episodes and finally finish season 11. We're almost there. Next up will be Frank Falls Out the Window. We've already covered the 2 episodes that kind of play into that, so we're rock and roll for that, baby.
Man, well, someday, eventually, I promise, we will get to Mac and Dennis move to the suburbs. It's definitely going to happen. Pinky swear. No. I middle finger swear. That's how much this means to me. Thank you guys so much for checking out the Night Pod Cometh. We are truly honored to be enjoying all things Always Sunny with you. You are truly 5-star people. If you have any thoughts on the episode or season 16 in general, let us know, man. We'd love to hear from you. We read all the comments. Drop a line. Hit us up on our social media. We'll probably respond. We're just simply at Night Pod Cometh. At Night Pod Cometh. Magnum Mills cometh away.
Thank you, Jamie G. He's got it right with the social media information. Remember, you can find us wherever you get your pods and on YouTube. And don't forget those flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. Helps other people find our show, find our channel, and connect with other Sunny fans. And that's the thing, right? We all love the show. And if I just see you out in the bar, you got a Sunny shirt on, I'm instantly your friend. It should work that way for everyone else. And just so you know who we are, I am Magnum Mills. He's Jamie G. That's the Soupdeucer. Thank you again for checking out our show, our coverage of season 16, and most importantly, being a fighter for the Night Pod Cometh.
Oh, go crazy, have fun, go nuts. At Risky Rex Pizza, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want.